What's up, people? We are back. Act 2 the podcast, episode 7. Oh, shit. Act 2 the podcast, episode 70. God damn it. Felt like something was flying in my mouth. You got a little something on your nose, too. Yeah, you ain't make sure we was right.
You ain't make sure we was right.
Yeah, a piece of skin or something. Act 2 the podcast, episode 70. We are back in the building. It's your boy, International Walk.
And it's your girl, Todd. Am I still Chocolate Tosh?
Nope.
It's your girl, Tosh, the co-hostess with the mostest.
So she bummed out about being herself.
I like being chocolate.
Whatever. It's your boy, International Walk. We are back at the 70th episode of Act 2 the podcast.
Whoop, whoop.
Just happy about that. 70. Can't believe I sat down, regardless of who's watching. This is what I love to do, and I sat down 70 times to do this. Means a lot to me. So
it means a lot to me too. Congratulations. Proud of you. You put in a lot of hard work and thought and time
and I just like talking to the people. Yeah.
When you think about it, 70, right? And each episode, it's a little more than an hour, but let's just take 70 hours. So that's 2 days, is 48 hours, plus another 24, 7. So you spent about, if you think about it.
I was going to say, you couldn't just go 3 days and 72
I didn't think about it that fast, but it's been about 4 days, you figure.
Okay.
You know, if somebody stayed up 24 hours a day, they could watch all the episodes in about 4 days. That's a lot, babe.
That's a heavy commitment.
Yeah,
to do that for somebody.
Well, I mean,
That's
they would
like
have to be
Netflix
high
type
on
of
coke
stuff.
or something to stay up for 4 days straight.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, that's a lot of content. I'm proud of you.
It is.
Yeah, I'm proud of you. Good job. How are you today?
I am. I'm good. I feel good.
No. How are you?
I'm good. I have a heavy decision on my head to weigh, and life-changing decision. Nothing bad at all. Actually, it's something great. But yeah, it's just I'm good. My mental is about an 8, fluctuating from an 8 to a 9.
Okay.
A 9 because I'm happy that I'm doing this, but an 8 because
it's a big decision.
It's a big decision. Never did it before. Obviously, I never did a lot of shit before. But yeah, just a big decision. A costly decision, and I just want to get it right.
What I tell you? You my dog.
Yep.
And I support you. Whatever you decide, I say go big or go home. Not go big, but go big or go home.
I don't want to go big.
No, you don't want to go big, right? But do your thing. Do your thing, Daddy.
You guys
Spin
out
a bag
there,
and get it right back.
You guys out there can catch us on act2thepodcast.com. Y'all can catch us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Google Podcasts, Anchor, Radio Public, TikTok, Breaker, and Spotify. You can catch us on all those platforms.
You did good. Well, I mean, you read them, but yeah.
But you jumped the gun with the how are you.
I know.
You should just stay in your place, do your thing. Because it's,
Well, I was caring
we got
about
roles
you.
Here now.
Oh.
How are you?
You didn't finish, though.
What I didn't finish?
You said, you right, I did jump the gun. My bad.
Okay.
But you only gave your mental. Unless you want to go back and forth.
No, my mental was 8, fluctuating between an 8 and a 9. My finances will be the same, fluctuating between an 8 and a 9.
Mm-hmm.
And my works like like a 7. Yeah, this works like a 7.
Yeah, I don't like you on this. Not that I don't like you on this job because you don't bring the stress home, but I know that you don't like it.
No, I don't.
Yeah,
I don't like it at all.
And I don't like that long drive for you. I'm just so used to you get off and you be home in 15 minutes for the last 3 years.
3 years.
And now it's like,
yeah,
where is he?
It's troublesome. It really is, and it's something's got to give.
Yeah, and I can feel your energy in the morning, which that part worries me a little bit. But I pray, and I know God will protect you. But knowing you got that long drive and being sleepy,
yeah, it's problematic. It's to say the least. Just leave it at that.
Okay, leave it alone.
Physically, I feel good. When we walked the other day, that was shock to my body because I had no idea. I was going out in the evening to do 2 miles. 2 miles hit, and it was like,
it felt good.
Okay, yeah, it did feel good, but it didn't feel good. which is like an oxymoron because it didn't feel good, but it felt good at the same time.
It's like it hurt so good.
No, it felt bad, and it felt good, but at the same time, a different range of emotions. How are you?
I'm doing well.
No! How are you?
I swear I'm signing you up for acting classes. I don't know why I paused like that. I'm a 8. I'm an 8. I feel good.
Mentally, you're an 8?
No, I'm gonna say I'm a 9. I'm a 9. I feel good. We're in a good space mentally. I know things but my heart is with you. I'm supporting you, no matter what. So mentally, I'm good. I'm a 9. I feel good. Work's
not there. It's finances.
Finances is a 10. No complaints about finances. Grateful, extremely grateful. I won't complain.
Work
is an 8, which is weird because it's a lot going on. Really busy, but I'm being challenged in different ways. I'm being forced to work in different capacities, more in like project management, that sort of thing. It's more mental, not that I need anything else to take up more bandwidth, but I like it in that space where it's just challenging me to think in a different way. So yeah, work is an 8.
Physicality?
Physically, I feel good too. Like, we've made some commitments to each other and just doing things better to promote our physical wellness. And yeah, I feel good. I would say I'm an 8. I'm an 8 there too.
Okay. Wows and woes?
My wildest week, I'm going to piggyback off what I said last week because we know Mother's Day just passed, and last week, I mentioned that I was in a good mental space leading up to Mother's Day, which traditionally for me over the years has not always been the case. And while I was being optimistic, I was optimistically cautious. Like, I didn't want to mask my feelings, but I also didn't want to be too presumptuous in thinking like, because I felt great on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, that Sunday the emotions wouldn't hit me like a ton of brick. And when I speak about emotions, I dealt with the emotions of not being able to be a biological mom myself, the difficulties that I've gone through with my mom and our parent-child relationship. So nevertheless, Mother's Day has troubled me in years past. This year, I felt great. I feel great. And so that, for me, that was a wow for me. I shared something on Facebook from last year where I had went to brunch with my sisters. And looking at those pictures, it's just so weird how you look at pictures of a childhood and it brings back flashbacks, but I so vividly remember that day and feeling like, even out celebrating with them, having lunch, but just feeling like I just want to sit somewhere and cry, which I know you would be completely against that. Like, don't just wallow in your sorrow and sadness and all that kind of stuff. And I didn't, but I still felt it in the inside.
I read that. I didn't know what you was talking about. I didn't know it was in light of Mother's Day. I just was scrolling past and I read it and was like, to be honest, the first thing I thought was, damn, what the fuck did I do?
No. Wow.
I did. I was like, damn, what the fuck did I do last year? But I didn't think it was, I'm like, damn, heartbroken to pieces. Like, because I just think like, damn, I have that power to do that.
But you don't break my heart in pieces,
know, but
right?
I'm just saying, it was like, what the fuck did I do? Like, she felt this way, but... No,
that wasn't... Wow, I wonder if other people felt like that too. Not that I care what anybody thinks about us, because, again, you don't break my heart.
Yeah, but like, when I first went past it was like, damn, what did I do a year ago?
Wow,
I was like, damn, I guess nothing.
So for those of you who may, not that I need to clarify anything with anybody, but if you were friends on Facebook and you saw that, my heart wasn't broken because of us. My husband, thank God, it's probably been in 20 years, 2 situations that have broken my heart, and not to the extent that some may think. Nevertheless, no, that was my own personal internal woes that I was facing. That was Mother's Day brunch, just 2021. And just looking at those, I know the mental space I was in, which he knows that was the mental space I was in years before that too. I just probably don't have pictures from them. But nevertheless, that was my wildest week. I was just very grateful for being in a better space, through God, through resources such as our counseling, through my husband being my support. So, yay for me.
Woes?
My woe, you know what? I read something that talked about a hepatitis outbreak amongst kids in the U.S. And that,
Dirty ass kids.
no, don't say that. They don't know where it's coming from.
You I won't say it again, but I already said it.
They don't know where, like, let me stop laughing, because some of these kids have needed liver transplants. Some have died.
You gotta get them lips, yeah.
Oh my God.
No, like, I mean, you could have just licked them, but they was on their way to dryness.
Yeah, you didn't make sure I was prepared prior to the episode. But yeah, some have needed liver transplants. Some have passed away. They're saying there's no connection to the vaccine. I don't want to say we get flagged. Wink, wink. The vaccine. And some, it's pretty clear that it wasn't, just because they were so young, they're not eligible. Nevertheless, it was just pretty shocking, and it made me think, like, oh my God, I hope this is not like indicative of anything that crazy that's about to happen in the world. Like, when you hear outbreaks nowadays, I feel like we have PTSD. You just never know. Yeah, you never know, like, how big is the ball going to roll? How big is this snowball going to get? So that was like a woe for me, because it just made me think, like, damn, like, I'm saying we, I don't know if y'all felt like that, if y'all read the story, but it felt like a little PTSD. Like, now every time you hear something, it's like your head on a swivel, like, oh my God, are we about to be locked down again? So that was it for me. What was your wildest week?
Wild for me was just us having some resemblance of normalcy. I know last week's episode for me was kind of low energy, just because we wasn't 100%. And I can't stress enough. I can't stand, it makes my body and my heart, my bones, my soul hurt beefing with you. I don't like to feel like, when you angry at somebody or upset with somebody, especially if you feel like they did something to you, I just want to love you, and I want to be nice, and I want to be happy, and I don't want to not want to touch you, or not want to have sex with you, or not think about buying you flowers and things like that. Like, I just want to be a good husband and do the things that I'm supposed to do, and I don't want you on your end, because I know I have my shit with me too, but on your end, when you in your moves, like, I just don't want you to take that away from me. And it's hard to do that when you upset with somebody. That's why we don't have sex when we mad at each other, because we just can't. Like, we're not feeling each other, the vibe isn't right, and that kind of shit goes away, and it hurts a little bit more every time. So just fact that we getting back to some type of normalcy feels good. My woe would be, I had to get rid of one of my guys, and you know who.
No. Yeah, we'll have to talk offline.
Yeah,
he's
somewhere else. Probably not coming back. But okay. It's better that way.
And you know what? I know you, and I know that if that's a decision you had to make, that it was thought out. It was thought out, because I've seen your maturation over the years in your leadership role, and you don't make snap judgments or decisions.
I
take
like
that.
Pride in not being impulsive anymore, the way I used to be. But I don't like anybody that just messes with my peace. I like to come to work and laugh and joke and have fun, and I don't like to when people make me go back to who I used to be, in that sense of
Can I make a correction? Because our counselor would say this: nobody can make you go back.
Yeah, I know. But when people agitate or
when you feel agitated by someone,
I don't like that. I just like my peace. Okay. So that's it. For people who out there who do watch, and by now you guys kind of know our story, preferably my story, but she's tied into my story, which makes it our story. And for those of you who know, I used to be a fugitive for 23 years, and this whole Act Two thing was my idea, and it was mainly about what I was feeling and what I was going through as I was making a transition to becoming Walter and knowing who I was and finding out who I was. But along for that journey was my wife. She was there the whole time. And I don't think we ever really sat and got her perspective on things, which this could probably turn into a two-part a podcast, because I'm sure there's a lot to dig into. But I just want to get some perspective on what she was going through and some of the things that she felt in the midst of all this, because as I was facing 20 years in jail, and she was facing time too, and that's something that she might not have realized at that time or in the moment, but that's a good title. She was facing time too. But yeah, so that's what I want to dig into, and I might just jump around with random questions, and I'm sure her elaboration will lead us into other spaces. But right off the bat, what made you want me with my situation? Well, no, I knew you wanted me, and I don't think, and you can tell me if you did, I don't think you knew my situation before we got together. No, you did, because your ex-dad. But what made you want me, knowing that I had this situation lingering over me?
So I think, no, I won't say I think. At 19, 20, I didn't fully understand the gravity of the situation. Like, I knew the allegations or or some semblance of the allegation and charges or what they were related to, and I knew the cause, I knew the effect, the current effect that you were living, but really not to the extent that it really was. I didn't realize how big of an impact it would be on our life. I mean, I kind of look at it like this. Our life was this small at the time, so the impact was smaller. As our life grew, the impact grew. So that, for me, I think is where it was like, okay, like, it's certain things you can't do, certain places you can't go. You can't have ID, you can't have a driver's license, you gotta avoid the cops. But our lives weren't limited in the aspect of it feeling dangerous, I guess. And I mean, I guess to somebody who thinks, he's a fugitive, he can't have ID, he has to avoid the cops, what about that isn't dangerous? But for me, I just felt like there was still, because it was you, there was still a sense of safety or security that I felt because it was you. I can say for myself, and this is hindsight 22 years later, I'm pretty sure, say never, but I'm pretty sure, had it been me meeting a stranger.
I was going to say, if it was Mike.
Had me met a stranger and not knowing them, but just meeting them, and like, as we're getting to know each other during the dating stage, it's like, no, Mike don't have no ID, Mike can't do this, or I see pay stubs and his name, he's telling me his name is this, but his pay stub says that. I would have backed off of that situation, because one thing that
I think you would have.
Well, I think I would have, and I'm pretty sure. One thing I've always said to you is that, again, this sounds so oxymoronic, but it was like, I don't want to be involved in any illegality. Y'all probably thinking I'm crazy, because it's like, your whole life was illegal, but in the sense of, it wasn't like you was hustling on it, like you was going to work every day, but you was selling these packs over here on the side, or like, you had an illegal gun that you was driving around with, or you was still out here robbing, just to have a couple, like, so yes, our lives were illegal in the sense you were a fugitive, but outside of that, which just sounds ridiculous because that's a big thing to go outside of, other than smoking weed, that was like, you didn't do anything else illegal from that point going, except for living as a fugitive. So that was my point. That wasn't, so that's why I say, had it been a stranger, I would have probably almost assuredly backed off, because I wouldn't have known, who is this person, what were they into, are they still into this. I wouldn't have wanted to take that time to confirm that I was safe. But with you, I knew I was safe regardless of your situation. So I think that's what gave me the comfort to feel like, okay, like,
in hindsight, was it the way that I was approaching the situation? How, like, I didn't want to be around people and became like a recluse, and so you felt safe because I'm not out here in the streets, and he don't go outside, and he don't hang on the corners no more, and like that type of stuff. Like, not saying in the moment you knew, or I'm enjoying this seclusiveness, but did it make you feel safe in any type of way that he's not out there no more?
I guess I never really thought about it in the sense that you're not out, you're not out there in the world anymore, and you're being this recluse. Because, despite your situation, I was ignorant in some senses, where I felt like, come on, you can do this, like, you'll be okay. We're used to be like, no, I can't. So but I do think the fact that I knew that no matter what, you wanted to be on the right side of the law while being a fugitive. Like, I knew you weren't trying to do anything illegal. Like, even driving, like, you were all, because again, you didn't want to bring attention to the cops. Like, you were always a safe driver. Like, just the small things, like, you were always a safe driver. You just did what you were supposed to do to avoid yourself from getting in trouble. So it was almost like, okay, had you not been a fugitive, had you not already been in trouble, you were like an upstanding citizen who smoked weed. Like, that was the only thing that, which, I mean, is legal now, was illegal then. But outside of smoking and buying weed, like, you didn't do any other thing. So that, to me, it was almost like I knew how serious you took keeping yourself safe. And I mean, and I'm not taking this for granted at all. And I probably didn't think about it in its, no, not probably. I know I didn't think about it in its entirety at that time. But in hindsight, I was right. Like, you did do an amazing job of keeping yourself out of trouble.
Was it your naivete that made you feel like you're facing time too? Did you know that too? Did you know that you could be in trouble too in the moment, just because of who you were surrounded by and what you were doing and how you were putting yourself in the front of all our endeavors, and your name was on everything and like all that kind of stuff? Like, did you realize it in the moment, like, I could be in trouble too? Or, and even if you did have that thought, was it like, I'm just gonna say I didn't know? Like, what was your mindset, if that thought ever crossed your mind?
It did to some extent, but I tried not to harbor, which is weird that I'm using that word. I try not to harbor on it too much, because again, I trusted you that if anything was to happen and you were to get in trouble, like, that was just the way that the cards were meant to be played, because I knew you did everything that you could not to. So for me, it was like, you definitely get in charge with harboring a fugitive. Now, I can tell him I ain't harbor nothing. He took care of me. Like, I was living at my grandma's house in a bed with two cousins at 18 years old, because I ain't have nowhere to go. Then I, was doing better after that time. And then when we got together, my life was a little bit different, but nevertheless, I wasn't harboring nobody. I moved in with him. He was harboring me. But in all seriousness, I did think to myself, like, what exactly does that entail? Are you prepared to do time?
Did you ever look it up?
I didn't.
Because you're like a look-up person.
I am, but
you never looked up, like, what could happen to you?
I didn't. Like, I think because, again, my trust in you, that I don't want to sound like so stupid. I mean, at this point it is what it is, but I just trusted that you would do what you were supposed to do, not to get yourself in trouble, hence me not getting in trouble. So I knew it was a possibility, but I wasn't, and I don't know if that would have like infiltrated my head to make me like fearful of being with you. I can't even imagine that it would have. But I just never did. You're right. I'm a look-up person about a lot of stuff. Like, I research everything. never, like, I now I want to know.
But see, that's what makes me think like you had some sort of naivete to think like it just like I always tell you now, you always had that, or you used to have that mindset of it can't happen to me, or the glass is just always half full, and it's like you never want to look at, okay, this could go the right way, but you're it's like any. I would think any other person would think this can also go the wrong way. So let me think about that too, as well as I'm thinking about. And you're a person who don't believes in manifestation. So to just keep telling yourself, oh, the glass is half full, it's gonna be okay. It's like you never thought, damn, what if this goes left? Like, where does that leave me?
You know what? I never thought about.
As we're starting to accumulate this life, not just material things, but our relationship is growing, our love is growing, our attachment is growing. Like, did you never thought, where does that leave me?
You know, it's weird you say that because I did, and I don't think so much it was naivete. I think it was just probably optimism at its highest level, and faith in God, and like, all right, God, you know, other than smoking weed, he ain't out here doing anything, you know, any crimes. And I'm not saying that this justifies anything that you may or may not have done. I always felt like your life and the way that you were having to live it was punishment. You know, some people could say, oh, like you ain't get away with nothing. Like, let's just keep that clear. That's how I feel, and I know that to be true.
No, I feel that way too.
Yeah, like you ain't get away with nothing. Even though you may not have been behind bars as a prisoner, you were a prisoner in society, which may. I don't want to take away nothing from people that actually are in jail.
No, it
but
wasn't worse. I wouldn't.
No. I wasn't going to say worse at all. But it is almost as difficult. Almost
it was
as difficult.
I mean, I've been both places, and I don't even want to sit here and say like being away for 20 years is the same as being on the street for 20 years, because I saw you every day. I got to touch you. I got to feel you. I got to smell you and kiss you. And it's a lot of people who didn't. So I wouldn't dare say it's.
No, I never was going to say it was
on
worse.
That kind of level.
Right. But so to your point, it wasn't so much naivete. And it's weird because even when you say that, I used to think to myself, like, how would I structure my life in terms of, this is so weird to say, because like I could have been behind bars too. I always knew financially I would be okay. Like, if I gotta work 3 jobs, God forbid something happened to you, I would be okay. Again, not thinking I'm gonna be in jail. I'm thinking you're gonna be away. I'm gonna be holding it down. I'm gonna be, and I used to think, how would I structure my life to like come see you every weekend? Like, my life would just change drastically. Wherever you at, like, I'm gonna be getting off work on.
You used to think about this shit?
Yeah, I'm gonna be getting off at work on Fridays. You know, driving upstate or whatever the hell you at, and like that was just so that would be my life. And down sitting here, it's like,
been in Oklahoma somewhere.
Well, guess what? I would have had frequent flyer miles to Oklahoma because I would have been there every weekend. But it's just weird. Like, it never crossed my mind like, sis, you're gonna be in jail and somebody's gonna be writing you. And I'm not laughing at that in no way, shape, or form. And I'm grateful for what has transpired in our life. But yeah, I don't think it was so much naivete. Well, no, the part of me not thinking that I would be in jail is probably me being naive, but me thinking that we would be okay was faith and optimism.
This next question I'm gonna ask you, I'm telling you this now, if you say nothing, I don't believe you. And we're always transparent on this show, so whatever you say not gonna make me look at anybody any different. I promise. So let me just say that. But what did your family say?
So
in those moments where it was like y'all really had conversations about me, like, Tosh, what you doing? Like,
so you gotta remember this. My sisters are my sister right under me is 4 years younger than I am. Mm-hmm. My sister under that is 12 years. So, and not only that, they've always known you just like I've always known you. So at that time, when we got together, I was 20. Erica was 16. Sierra was 8. So they especially Sierra, she grew up with us being together. And, she kind of respected me in the sense of like a maternal figure. So your situation, it was never anything that was said in the sense of why you still with him. And my mom and I, we've never had that kind of relationship to even talk about like us not being together, or for her to question. And I think people...
Was that your only family?
I never talked to any of my other family like on...
Whether you talk to them or not, did they ever have anything to say?
No. Okay. On a personal level, like, I mean, amongst themselves, who knows? They could have had a lot of conversation. But nobody ever... And I'm not saying this like I'm some big bad Tony. I think everybody have always known to mind their business when it comes to my business, because I mind my business when it comes to other people's business. So, like I'm close with my cousins Shelly and Karen, and they love you and have always supported us. So even though they didn't know, I don't know what they knew about you. To be honest, I don't know what they knew. From my mom, they may have known, or at least had some inkling. I'm really not sure. We've never had that conversation. So they've always loved and supported me, so they loved and supported you. So I don't think it was...
I can attest to that. They've always showed me love and championed us. And they've always I've never felt uncomfortable around Shelly or Karen.
Right. So yeah, they never had anything to say. My mom, we've never, I'm sure she has probably felt some kind of way at some points, I would think, but she's never voiced that to me. And my sisters, I think I won't even say I think, I know, even without them saying, at points, they've probably felt more frustration at, some of the restrictions that have been on my life, in terms, especially as they became adults, in terms of traveling and stuff like that. And, just the way we had to move in certain scenarios. But nobody's ever voiced to me like, you need not to be with him or you need to leave. One, they probably knew it would cause an issue between them and myself, or just some words that would be exchanged, or a curse out, mind your effing business. But and I think also, despite your situation, or in spite of your situation, everybody who knows us, who has really known us, knew how much you care and love me. So it wasn't like, Tosh, you taking care of this bum nigga who on the run, he hiding under the bed every day while you going out working. I'm serious. I'm just like, it's in some people's mind, that may be the imagery that they have when you talk about like being on the run, like he under the bed every day while you at work until you come home.
But what about the as the years went on and it was like, okay, this is the 39th 100th time that you're talking about getting married, and we're talking about when me and Jay go here. And it's like, okay, like, this is like the 10th year. But I didn't have
those conversations. Okay. Yeah, I mean, we went on vacations
No, your sisters never said, like, damn, like, T, when do you think you getting married? Or when do you think y'all gonna go somewhere? Or, like...
So, my sisters are riders when it comes to me. Yeah. Especially Erica. So, Erica, she was ready to get ordained as a minister and marry us. Like... Like, y'all know, you can go online and do like this universal... You remember Cedric the Entertainer did
I know.
So in her mind, she was like, we gonna find a way. Like, I want y'all to get married, we gonna find a way. Or do like, so when those conversations would come up, that was her solution. Like, I'll marry y'all. And it was like, thanks, sis. Even in terms of like, like the whole fertility thing, for those who may or may not know some of our story, maybe we'll talk about that one day. We were receiving fertility treatments, but it even got to a point where his legality made us... It hindered the process, because they started asking for like, it was certain procedure where they would ask for like insurance information or ID. Like, they don't just want this man coming in here giving a sperm sample and we can't confirm who he is and you want us to put it in you. And my sister was like, I'll be a surrogate. I'll have the baby. So she was always team us. So in that sense, and
I appreciate you, A.
Yeah. And then, and also like in terms of traveling, I think they were just sensitive to the fact that they knew that we couldn't. You know, I mean, yeah, we wanted to, you know, we kind of, so I think, and they knew no shade to anybody. They were legal, you weren't. We took more vacations than them, albeit, you know, road trips and going places. But so at that time, it wasn't ever like, well, when y'all finally, because they just knew. They knew what the circumstances were. So it wasn't that pressure to do certain things.
Right. Were you scared?
I was only scared when you were scared, but even in those moments when you were scared, I felt like I had to be brave for you. And y'all,
You know what I'm getting out of this? And this is, you tell me if I'm right or wrong, that you didn't have any really emotions about this whole process that we were going through until after the fact. But while you were in it, you didn't really think about it. You just thought, like in a positive way, like it's gonna be okay, we're gonna be all right, and I got faith. And you didn't really sit back and think about if this goes left, if this person that I'm with for 10 years all of a sudden goes to jail, or you didn't really sit and think to yourself while you're taking a shit, damn, when am I going to get married? Or when am I, am I wrong? Or did you have those moments? And I know there was some turmoil in our relationship because of restrictions. Like I remember early on when it was like early, where you didn't see your family and you didn't see your sisters as much. And I knew that was an impact on you, which makes me feel like shit to this day. But as those things got heavier, like the traveling, the no, we ain't going to this person's cookout, no, we're not doing this, no, we ain't going nowhere near our old neighborhood, like all those things, like you just always constantly woke up every day and thought, this is my life and it's going to be okay and this is the day. Like you never just felt like, damn, when is this going to change for me?
I think in hindsight, if I look back at it, the best way I probably can describe it, I think I was operating in survival mode. Okay. It was just like don't sit and wallow in and wonder if
Oh wow. Go ahead. But go ahead.
Well, wonder if like something bad is gonna happen. Like, you know, that's not my way of thinking about anything. Like, well, not the wallowing. You know, I get sad sometimes, but I'm talking about the pessimism and wondering if something is not gonna go right. I just can't. My mind won't allow me to operate in that way because I feel like. I don't know. I just feel like you get stuck. You lose focus of staying on track and doing things because I feel like that's when you're gonna make a mistake or you're gonna slip up or you're gonna do something. And not that I was intentionally thinking about it in the way at the time. Mm-hmm. I'll be honest and say no, I wasn't. But in hindsight, I think I was just operating in pure survival mode in the sense of I gotta do what I'm supposed to do every day, going to work, and I also felt like my life and livelihood and how I was moving was also protection from you. Mm-hmm. Like, as long as, you know, I'm doing this and you know, whether we got a new house in terms of renting, you know, when we bought a house, getting cars, it was like, I'm the face of us. Don't worry about what he don't got. Don't worry about that he can't bring ID to the table. So I was just constantly operating in survival mode. And it wasn't that I didn't have emotions. You know, those times kind of waxed and waned in our life. Mm-hmm. Where we would talk about getting married and we would have like these ideas like,
and our eyes would be all big to each other and it would
and
feel
then it wouldn't happen.
Like something, and then we would get done the conversation and I would feel instant like a declimax, like damn, yeah. I can't do this.
Like
I
remember,
can't make this happen for her tomorrow. Like, we're talking about this Friday night, and come next Friday, we're not going to be married still, and I'm still going to be under this situation unless I face this thing, which could take me away from her for 20 years. So, right. You know, it was almost like I used to sit and think sometimes, should I have done this in the beginning? Like, just
and got it over with and yeah,
did what I had to do, or I don't know. Then I wouldn't, you know, it wouldn't be who I am today. I wouldn't have the life I have today. I wouldn't have the job that I have today. So it was a lot to lose. But yeah, I wondered if you ever ever thought that.
And I remember one time we had plans when we were going on vacation. I don't want to say where we were going, but we were going on vacation, and our plan was we were going for 2 weeks because we used to take road trips, y'all. Sometimes our vacations would be 2 weeks because it's like you drive, you be at this place for the like after this long ride, you don't feel like turning right back around and coming back. So the plan was to go to this place, go to the courthouse, apply for a marriage license.
Because we had found a state where only one party can go apply for a marriage license.
But I would need to bring his birth certificate. Now, in hindsight, I will say this. It had to happen that way. I don't regret. I'm happy that we are where we are today and things happened the way that it did. I'm happy that we were never able to get you fake ID. I'm happy that we were never able to get married because and I think about how stupid that is. Well, we on the road, we traveling, going on vacation, and it's probably hours. And I don't have to lie to y'all, it just wasn't intentional. I forgot the damn paperwork. And I never even said anything to him like when I realized it, because at this point we had been driving for like 3 hours. My stomach is I'm sad. And our road trips, even though long, sometimes used to be fun. We would be singing, rapping, like eating snacks, but I remember just feeling so sad. And when we got there, I had to tell him like, babe, I forgot the paperwork. And did you think that it was intentional?
Yeah, I still do, to be honest with you.
Even though I'm sitting here, I promise you.
I understand that, but somehow it's a little piece of me that thinks it's intentional. And it's okay because I think that you always showed up as you, Tosh, and that's not you. Like, you don't take 5 cents extra in change from a store if they give it to you extra. You'll go back in and give it back. So that just wasn't you. And that's how, I was angry in the beginning, like, damn, I think you lying. I think you did it intentionally. But as time went on, it was just like, that's just who she is. Like, I thought to myself, damn, like, that's just who she is. Like, she wouldn't have wanted to do it that way. Like, she's scared to do some dumb shit like that and get in trouble, which I was like, yeah, let's do it, and kind of talked you into it. But it wasn't the right thing to do. And I somehow think you knew that then. Like, again, you knew right from wrong, but you would give me leniency, but only to a certain degree. You would tell me, no, we're not doing that. Like, when I wanted to get fake ID, you was like, no, hell no,
absolutely
we ain't doing
not.
that. Like, I love you, I want to marry you, but we're not doing that. And it was like, okay, like, that's what when you were showing me that's what made me think about the whole thing back then.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's just one of those things that happens in life, and you think it wasn't no coincidence. That's how God meant for me not to bring that paperwork, because who knows, it could have showed up at the courthouse, this fake ass birth certificate, and now I'm in jail, he's not in jail, and the whole world done flipped upside down. So it wasn't intentional. And I just remember, like, the last hour of the drive just feeling like sick to my stomach, because it was like, oh my God, like, I can't believe, I just couldn't believe it. Nevertheless, those are the moments, like when you say, did I think about us getting married? Like, yeah, we had those moments, or we would talk about vacations. Like, we had a list that we still gonna fulfill our bucket list of traveling places. And but you know, I never knew when those things would be able to come to fruition. So I thought about them, but I probably suppressed the desire to do them, probably for protection of both of our feelings. I didn't want to be all excited about something that wouldn't happen, and I didn't want to make you feel bad because it couldn't happen.
How did you feel not seeing your family early in our relationship? How did that make you feel?
So it was a mix.
2-part question. And did you understand?
Okay.
At the time, not now.
So it was a mixed bag of emotions, because at the time, while I knew part of it, so my mom and I were both in these different situations, but tumultuous in the sense that, you know, me not, or him not, I don't want to say me not being able to, but him not wanting me to go to the neighborhood where we grew up in, where my family still lived, but where, you know, he had done his dirt. It was for his and our protection. And I understood that. My family knew. So, you know, I don't want to say they accepted it. They didn't have a choice, but, you know, they knew why. But then I also felt like my mom, like, okay, come to me. But because of the life that the domestic violence situation and just the tumultuous home life that she was in with my dad, like, she couldn't come see me. And it wasn't like my dad was a fugitive. It was just, I don't even know. Different conversation for a different day. She just, or if she would come to see me, literally, it would be like for a half hour, or I would have to meet her somewhere. And I don't know, she probably was going home and saying that she didn't see me. Like, I don't even know what that situation looked like or what those conversations were, but it was almost like she was sneaking my sisters out the house to see me. So it made me kind of, I think it made me angry at probably, and this is a shame because I probably was projecting my feelings onto her. I was angry at her because it was like, you're grown, like, leave the house and come see me. Like, why I'm your child. And, you know, as much as I love and miss my sisters, I think there was already some space that was created in our lives. So it would be different if, like, today, the time that I see and spend time, and then couldn't. At that time, we already had space because, just a little bit of history, my dad put me out when I was 18. So at the time, my sisters were 14 and 6. Was that right? 6, right. Now, I had raised my sisters, like, you know, because my mom worked, my dad was a bum, but he lived there, but I raised them. He put me out, and I really wasn't allowed to see them. So I had already felt like I was missing so much time with them. And then we were together and I missed more. So it was kind of like, it was an extension of that. It wasn't like a fresh cut. You know what I mean? So it was like an extension of the cut that was already there. So in hindsight, I was mad at my mom when I really should have not been as mad at her, because it was both me and her who, you know, was in different situations, but situations that didn't allow
it limited the both of you.
Yeah. And then I felt like I went to whatever way I could, like, went to make sure that I made that connection with them, however it may be, whether it was a payphone, at work, call, like, talking to them or whatever. You know, again, my mom sneaking, or when my sister would go to dance school, meeting them there to see them there. So, I mean, we made it happen until when my mom ended up leaving, you know, then the doors opened, life changed.
Right. Through all this process, I was super duper paranoid. Obviously, you know that. And then we had an apartment somewhere, and I thought my safety was breached, and my paranoia kicked in heavy, and we moved to a hotel in the middle of the night. How did you feel then? Did you think then the cup might be half empty and not so full? Or did you realize the state that I was in, like, okay, might be a little bit more serious than I thought?
Yes, because I thought to myself, I think that's when, while it didn't come physically knocking at our door, it came knocking, I guess, at other people's door, which brought it to our face. And I think at that time I thought, okay, he's wanted for these things or whatever, but not that they were actively searching. And then that was like, oh, like, you mean to tell me that, like, we literally, you know, got to be ducking and diving every now and then and not knowing when? And I can say that probably was one time when I really had to think to myself, like, is this what you ready? Are you ready to do this? And I'm saying, like, it literally was like quick thoughts in my head, like, is this what life is about to be? How often y'all about to have to do this? He needs you, but, you know, once you take this step, like, I don't want to say you're not going to be able to step away, but he needs you to be there for him. Either you are or you aren't. Either you in or you're not. And I decided to be in. And I think in that moment, again, operating in survival mode, I'll never forget going to work, because this is what we used to do. We lived in one, do you want to say where we lived or no? Mm-hmm. Okay, we lived in one area. We went to a hotel that was
30 miles away.
Yeah, that was so far away. Okay? So we would wake up at like 3 o'clock in the morning, drive back to the hotel, to our apartment, and he would like circle the block, make sure nothing wasn't looking shady, and he would drop me off so I could get ready for work. I would get on the train and go to work in Center City, which was like a 45-minute train ride. And I remember being at work thinking, doing my job, being regular, and thinking, after like the third day, y'all have no idea what my life is like right now. Like, y'all have no idea when I leave that, first of all, that I was up in this county at 3 o'clock this morning, we was going across 3 counties in a day, going from this county to this county to get dressed, coming to work, being normal, doing my job, then going home, and then he would pick me up from there and we would go back. And this is the crazy thing. He had a cat, right? And we had this neighbor who was like a crazy animal lady. She had animals that had one eye. One of the animals, I think did she have a dog that only had 3 legs? Mm-hmm. So we had a cat. He had a cat. I didn't like the cat. Don't like cats till this day. And we didn't want the cat to die. Like, I don't like cats, but I don't want it to die, especially not in our apartment. So he asked the lady if she could feed our cat for that week. Well, I think we were just going for a week until he found us a place to stay. But mind you, like, we had packed up all of our clothes and stuff, or like a lot of our clothes and stuff. So when she's going in the apartment to feed the cat, which is just so weird, because knowing you would never give anybody keys to our house. If anything, you would put the cat out and let it be a stray cat before you let somebody have it. So just in hindsight, it's like, where was your mind? So that's just weird to even think that you would have given somebody access. But I think in your mind, you knew this ain't about to be our place anymore. So I remember her saying, "Are y'all moving?" Because the apartment, like, furniture was stood up,
off the walls,
and stuff was taken off the walls. Like, we were in the process of moving. We just didn't know where we were moving to yet. But that was our life. So in that moment, for me, it was like a real quick decision. Like, sis, you in or you out? And I decided to be in. And at that time, it probably was more for you than for me, because I felt like you didn't have anybody else. Mm-hmm. No shade to his family, but whatever, you ain't have nobody else. Mm-hmm. Nobody, and I felt like nobody was going to protect you. Nobody, you do have people. Nobody was going to love you and protect you. I won't even say love you, because I don't think that was a factor in my mind at that time, but nobody was going to protect you and make sure that you were all right in the way that I was willing to. Mm-hmm. Like, when it's time to ride, we're going to do this. The cops pull up, they got questions. Like, it just is what it is. So at that time, it was scary, but again, I was operating in survival mode and just telling myself, do what you're supposed to do so that y'all can be okay. And I remember being at work thinking, there was an older lady who I was cool with, and she loved you. And just, again, nobody had any clue, and I never gave anybody a clue, but I just remember, like, thinking, like, y'all have no idea what my life is like. I'm so tired. Getting up early in the morning. My mind, I'm like,
2 different places.
I'm making, wanting to make sure that you're okay. Like, we probably call each other throughout the day. You all right? You cool? All right. All right. I see you here. I see you there. And like, this was our life for a week. And I remember we tried to resume some sense of normalcy even while staying at the hotel. I'll never forget, there was a Rita's, like, on a corner or something. And we would walk outside and walk around the block at the hotel, get a water ice or whatever, and chill. And yeah, that was our life.
I always felt like you could just, like, leave, because although you would be staying back at your grandma's house and didn't have nowhere to go, like, you could stay there. Like your grandma always welcomed you and you always felt comfortable there. So it would be more comfortable than where we was at. Like I just thought like I don't have nothing to offer her now, like especially now that this has happened, now that she's seen this side of it, and I don't have anything to offer her, and I would be devastated, but I kind of would understand, like, because I just thought, like, you soft and pink, you a girl, like, you not built for this type of shit, like, she not built for moving around and staying in hotels and halfway washing and shit like that, like, this is just not, she trying to make her life better than this, and this can't be, like, an everyday thing, so that's how I felt, like, she's gonna get sick of this, like, this is too much.
I know, I don't even think, I think it may have been a little bit of shock. And then I think too, at the time, my mind was like racing, thinking like, did this really happen? Did somebody try and play you? Like, I think my mind, I don't think I really stopped for a moment to be too scared. It made me more on high alert. But I don't think in that moment, and I don't think there was room for fear. I was more so feeling like I had to protect you. I had to keep my head on straight, because I remember like you breaking down and telling me you were scared. And it was just like, I gotta be here for him because he don't have anybody else. And if I'm not, then he's going to be out here alone.
Mm-hmm.
I never even thought like you, I don't know. I just really, the way you were moving, I just really did not think. And again, I'm not being cocky about it at all. I just didn't think that you would end up in jail, because the way you were moving, I knew you were very cautious and very strategic. So I just thought you would be out here in this world alone by yourself, being, in the situation that you were in, but by yourself. And I didn't want you to be by yourself.
Oh, thank you. This is a two-part question. It's like past day and, well, they both passed, but the latter is present day. Did you think I was a bad person? And I know then, like, you didn't know the details of stuff, but did you think I was a bad person after the hotel thing? Did you think I was a bad person?
No. I mean, I knew, no.
Not knowing, like, the details of stuff, but did you just think, this might be a bad dude?
So I knew the details without knowing the details. Like, I knew you wasn't wanted for murder. I knew you wasn't wanted for rape. I knew you wasn't wanted for, like, no kind of, like, crimes against people, like, some kind of perversion or anything. And God knows, I'm not saying what you did was okay.
Mm-hmm.
I knew it was a crime, but no, to me, I didn't know. So I didn't think you were a bad person. I just thought you had made bad decisions.
Okay, fast forward to present time when all this resolved itself. Got a lawyer, went to the place, talked about what happened. He brought up all my stuff and was reading in detail. And your face kind of like, I don't know, it was just different. I was nervous because it was like, this is the first time she's hearing this. Like, what's she gonna think about me? So, like, is she looking at me like, damn, I knew he was in the street, but I never thought this was in him.
So let me just say this, and I'm not, God knows, I'm not glorifying any kind of criminal activity, any kind of street thing, anything like that. But two things I'm gonna say. One, like you said, I researched everything. I knew the details, baby.
Okay.
I knew the details inside out. So that wasn't any shock to me. And I remember your face.
Like a research addict.
I remember your face. Well, let me just say this. I don't care who you are and who you're dating. I hope that y'all are researching people too. Like, criminal records, that's a matter of public record. You want to make sure, and not that I thought this was his situation at all, but if you're meeting somebody new, I hope you're looking to see that they don't have like no weird things that they've done. But nevertheless, I remember your face when he was like reading everything, and you kind of like leaned over to me and was like, "You all right?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm cool." I think for me, it wasn't that I felt anything. It still felt weird to me that I don't know if I trusted the lawyer yet. You know, I mean, in hindsight, he was doing his job. I'd never been in a situation of having a lawyer where you're the defendant. And I know the legal code, they can't tell on you. But that was just weird for me. So I didn't know if it just felt weird, like this person knows. And is he going to tell on you or something? Now, of course, I know after all these years of SVU, they're not allowed to tell on you. But again, I didn't know. The other part that, people talk about street code and all that, and hearing him say stuff, and, I know the details of things or whatever, and your responses were just like you ain't know nobody, you don't remember nobody, you don't know nobody, I don't know who that is, I don't know what that person was like. It just made me think like he really a G. like like I'm serious. In my head, it was like
I was expecting you to say that.
It was in my head. It was like he ain't give no indication of nothing. Like, and not that, don't get me wrong, not that I thought you were gonna be in there like giving people names, reporting stuff, giving a report of anything. So I never thought that you would, but being there and experiencing, and like I've never been in a legal situation like that. Like the one legal situation I've been in was when my dad, got charged with stuff and being in court. So we was telling everything. I never been in a situation where it's like you don't tell. So hearing you sitting there and you like, nah, wasn't nobody else nah, I don't remember, like this was 20 years ago. Like I don't know nobody's name, like don't know who so in that moment, again, it wasn't like I'd ever thought anything different of you, but it was just like stamped in that moment. Wow. And that was tough. That was decent. I don't know what other word to use. Wow. And again, I'm not glorifying any street stuff. Y'all can think what y'all want to think. You didn't have to. You know what? You made it about you. You took accountability and ownership for what you did. You didn't mention nobody else. Not even that you had to mention anybody else. And I don't even know if the lawyer had to ask. I don't know if he was just asking to kind of test you. I don't know what his motives were in those conversations. But even still, it was like you didn't falter at all. So for me, it was like, here, G.
Did you think I was violent?
Yes, I mean, but I kind of knew I knew that without your charges. Like I knew I was a kid when you was in shootouts, running around the neighborhood. While I may not have, been outside. I knew enough about what you had done as a teenager, so that wasn't like a shock to me. And I will say this. Let me just be clear. There are some details of things that you've done that I don't know the specifics of, and I don't need to know. Like, I know, kind of the gist of it. I don't need to know, like, the actual, I don't, me, I'm a detailed person. Like, tell me what happened, and this happened, and this happened. No, don't need to know none of that. So did I think you were a violent person? Yes. I think, you demonstrated some violence in your teen life and, your teen and young adulthood life. But I don't think you are a violent person. I think you participated in some violence.
I was a broken fugitive with daddy and mommy issues. Why did you love me? And these are all things that you knew about me.
I was a lost girl with daddy and mommy issues. So your brokenness probably gave me or made me feel like I had something to do. And not to say like I wanted to take care of you, but
it made you feel needed and like it gave you a bit of a purpose.
I guess in some, yes and no, because initially that wasn't my intent. I'm not gonna hold y'all. I wanted you for sex. Like when we met, like that's what it was. It was like, you know,
heard it from her mouth.
we had already, you know, dibbled and dabbled here and there. And then it was like, I loved you as okay, we had dibbled and dabbled. And then that dibbling and dabbling really turned into a friendship.
Mm-hmm.
And then we went our separate ways. And then when we came back together, it was a lot of sex, but the mental space just wasn't there, so it wasn't a good situation. Then we went our separate ways again, but I was heartbroken that time. So then when you came back, it was love, but I did want more sex, so it was more of the physical part. Then it wasn't as if I wanted to take care of you. I knew who you were. I knew how I felt about you. But it was more so the physical sense than wanting to take. But that, I'm sure that probably was some attraction, you know, on some other level, knowing that you needed me not in terms of protection, but you needed the love that I had to offer you, because nobody else could love you like I could.
I agree.
Yeah.
That was a good conversation.
It was.
We might revisit that with some more after it's thought about some more, because I'm sure it's a lot more questions I could ask you, but I don't want to be up till midnight.
Yeah. Question for you. Just based on a conversation
this was about how you felt.
Just based on a conversation we just had, do you have a different perspective about anything than what you had prior to the conversation?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, because I never really talked to you about how you felt. Mm-hmm. I mean, I have. I mean, I don't want to say I never talked to you, but I know how you felt. You just never expressed it. The people never heard. I kind of had an idea of how not seeing your family made you feel, how, you know, in the early days, not having a phone. Like, I remember those things, mm-hmm. Stuff that you couldn't go to. It was all because of me, and it was all because of the influence I had on your life. And after the hotel thing, it was just like, I have to change and do better. And what was that, 15 years after? But it took that long for me to be like,
probably longer, because the hotel thing was like
early.
Yeah, that was 2003.
Yeah, so it took even longer than that. We're talking about 17 years to be fed up, or, you know, at a point where, and that's a different story, where I was handling my own inner demons with the situation and how it was eating at me. But yeah, I do have a different perspective, and the people they know you have a different perspective. They never heard how you felt when you was riding along with me. I mean, it's like I'm in the motorcycle and you in that little car that's next to the motorcycle, just in there.
Why can't I just be on the back?
No, because you was like in there and you was facing everything with me. You was just in the little car.
Okay.
You wasn't behind me. You was like facing everything too. So
I received
I've
that.
talked about my perspective and how I felt, but
I received that.
And even through all that conversation, I still feel like you didn't have perspective on it till afterwards. I feel like you said, you explained it right. If that's how you felt, you was in survival mode, and I kind of get that. I understand that.
Well, like you said, if there's a part two, I think, you know, there probably were some other emotions that surface later in life as we kind of, you know, things kind of, we became content, but then that contentment sort of felt as if we were stagnant.
Contentment can turn to resentment.
A little resentment, but more so it was the stagnation, mm-hmm. where it was like, okay, something's got to give.
Yeah, we're outgrowing this situation.
Right.
Both of us mentally, and I had no idea in the beginning that would ever happen. Mm-hmm. But it did, and that was a good thing. Because here we are today, free as all hell, legal.
Thank you, Jesus.
You know, thank you, God. What have you learned?
You know, okay, let me ask you this. Let's tell you what I learned. Do you know what the top 3 mental health diagnoses are in order?
Anxiety, gotta be number 1. PTSD has to be behind that. And depression?
Did you read my note? No. So you had the 3 right, but in the wrong order.
Okay.
Anxiety, depression, then PTSD.
Okay.
So anxiety is the number one mental health disorder. Anxiety disorders, because there's different,
Anxiety
that
disorders.
falls under that umbrella. So yes, there are 40 million people that suffer from anxiety disorders 18 and older. That represents about 18.1% of the population. But of that, only 36.9% receive treatment, which is, so of the 40 million, less than 15 million are getting treatment, which just goes...
So 25 million just saying, fuck it.
For whatever reason, self-diagnosing, whatever they think. So it just goes to show, when we talked about last week, the mental health bus, and, so many people jumping aboard. It's a lot more people that need to get aboard the train to treatment. So that was just something I thought. It wasn't surprising about the diagnoses. I thought initially depression would be number one. So I guess that was, a little surprising. Anxiety was. But knowing how... Because like you said, you hear so many people talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that we were making progress. What I don't know is that 36%, what does that represent? Has it increased over the years? Or, how has the number of people who are receiving help, how has that grown? But yeah, only less than 15 million of the 40 million are actually in treatment. So I encourage everyone, again, this is still Mental Health Awareness Month, and mental health awareness, mental wellness, mental fitness should be a focus every day, not just the month of May. So that was what I learned, and I encourage everyone to get help if you need it.
Wow, that's good information.
Yeah, what did you learn?
I learned that niggas is a last name. Niggas is a surname. It is the 1,148,257 most common, widely surname. 1 in every 34 million people have niggas as a last name. 80%. It's 80% of the people live in Europe, where all the niggas live. 84% are in Germanic Europe, mostly in Australia. There's 175 people there with the last name nigga. And over there, it's 1 in 48,000 people with the last name nigga. Niggas. Niggas.
Wow. I wonder how they pronounce it.
Niggas. The phonetic. When you look at it, it's niggas. It's only you can't tell when it's spelled in Russian. That's where it originated from. Because their letters are different. So it looks like hookah in Russian. It does. It looks like it says HUCCA, but the C's are backwards or some shit. Wow. But yeah, 1 in every 34 million people, last name is niggas.
That's crazy.
Have you ever met a niggas?
Never.
No?
No, I don't. I don't like it. I don't like it.
No?
I think they should have to get their names changed.
Really?
I don't like it.
It's their surname.
I don't like it.
Do you think it's weird that they're on the opposite side of the earth where no black people are?
Yeah.
In Austria and shit like that?
Well, don't say there's no black people. So.
No, I'm just saying.
But there's less of
like
population.
3 black people. You're right. I shouldn't say there's none, but there's like 3 to 5, maybe 7.
Yeah.
In Austria.
Yeah.
3 grams. 3 grams is only 1 gram because it's a heavy gram.
Oh, wow.
And it's the indictment that came down on Young Thug and Gunna. 56-count indictment on the RICO Act. For all y'all that don't know, the RICO Act is Racketeering, Influence, and Corrupt Organization Act. It's federal offense. There was 56 charges, including murder, armed robbery, racketeering, possession of a gun. I think when Young Thug house got raided, he was caught with more guns and drugs in the house than was for personal use. And I say all that to say, like, it's just crazy how, and you got people like Wallow who they pulling these clips back when he had interviews, and you see, and it's crazy how you have these young black dudes in these situations who all of a sudden they have this talent that they use and gain a bunch of wealth, a bunch of money to take care of their families, and they still got a toe in the street. They still, he's accused of putting a hit out on somebody in jail.
Yeah.
And I don't know how deep this shit goes. And I've followed Young Thug a little bit and know kind of his backstory. And a lot of people say, like, he was a real gangster in Atlanta, but you got hundreds of millions of dollars, and I just think it's sad to see black men like that get in that position where you got a chance to get out the street, you got a chance to do something right, you got a chance to do something good, and take care of 100 people, and everybody be rich. Like, that's, and I don't want to reiterate what Wallow was saying, but that's supposed to be the strategy, is to like go through whatever poverty we went through as being in inner city and growing up there, but then get the fuck out. Like, that's, even as a drug dealer, you think, I'm gonna get money and move out. And obviously some drug dealers keep selling drugs and keep selling drugs and keep selling drugs. We've seen that story before, where it was like, dude, why didn't you been quit and move out? We been know you have money, so why did you keep doing it? But it's like they get all this money in the music business, all this notoriety, and still we putting out, hits on people, allegedly.
Yeah, I mean, it really is sad. I seen somebody say, and I think it was D.L. Hughley, maybe, I don't know, but it was like, when you have and I know rap names, they're just monikers that are used as stage names.
Your name is Young Thug,
right?
Gunna.
But it's like, Young Thug, is the representation that you put out that of a thug? Gunna, a shooter, is that what you are? And I just think people have to be very careful of what they attach to themselves, because when you attach that to yourself, then you feel like you have to put on that persona. Now, maybe in their case, they're not putting on a persona. That's really who they are, who they become, and they don't know how to separate themselves now that they have this legal money. They don't know how to separate themselves from the illegal life. But I'll say this: if you're a criminal, you're a criminal, you're a criminal. So maybe that legal life ain't for them, because they can't separate themselves from the illegality. So,
I understand part of it, where, I don't understand when you're doing new shit. That's what I don't understand. You gave me the grace of saying, in my situation, I didn't continue doing dumb shit, which was why you looked at me in a certain light. So if you continue to do dumb shit, I don't have no sympathy for that. But I understand, if you was in the street since you was 13 till you was 20, you did shit to people. And that stuff don't go away. Like, them beefs don't go away when you really hurt somebody, family member, or you really did something to somebody, or took something from somebody. That kind of shit don't go away. So I can see, like, that's kind of how you still in it, because those things don't go away. So it's not like you can't squash those things. Those people, if I killed one of your cousins, you never gonna forgive me for that, no matter how rich I get, or no matter what I offer you. You still is on when you see me. So that kind of shit I understand, but to keep doing new shit, like to be accused of putting a hit out on somebody in jail, like,
who's another rapper?
Yeah, but it's like, bro, you know the time we live in, phones, like all this kind of shit, and like, who does that? This isn't the 50s and like the mafia shit. Like, I just don't understand how that's still a thing. Like, I have hundreds of millions of dollars and I'm still being accused of putting hits out on people. I'm still being accused of having a gang. Like, this is supposed to be a record label. It's supposed to be. Like, I don't know what umbrella of is what under what, but we supposed to be young black millionaires.
But it's who you surround yourself with also. So
we go through appearances and shows for 50, 100,000 a pop. We talk like we young black millionaires, and this is the shit that we still doing.
But again, it's who you surround yourself with. You can't transition from the street life to the legal life and bring all the street life with you. Have you really transitioned? No, you've just moved into a different space in life.
But what do you do about the beefs that don't go away?
So do you really think that those beefs can never ever be squashed?
Nah, bro. Nah, baby. If you kill somebody's loved one, that shit don't go away. It's on forever.
You think that these guys, the actual rappers, murdered people?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm not saying anybody murdered anybody. I'm just saying, but if those kind of level of beefs, or you beat somebody in a wheelchair, or you just done something, you robbed somebody and took a heavy amount of money from somebody, those kind of things to certain people can't be worked out, is what I'm saying. I'm not saying it's like that with everybody, but in certain situations, certain beefs don't go away.
I mean, so with them, who knows what the situation is? The beef might not go away, but if you change, it's like, okay, have you even made an attempt to change your life, or was there no attempt at all? You just had the mindset of, this is who I am, this is who I was, this is who I'll always be, even now with the 100 million. If that's the case, then guess what? Criminals go to jail. So
yeah, I get it. I'm just
you
from the
chose to
outside
continue
looking
being
in.
a criminal.
I guess from the outside looking in, the music and all that stuff, you would think he changed his life, or you would think they changed their lives. But I mean, this dude was just about to get a Grammy or some shit, Young Gunner or whatever. He was just on a Grammy stage a while ago. So it's like, damn, like, I don't know. It's just
it's sad, especially for I look at it, and I'm not saying that we got enough young black men in jail. What's really sad is that you have these people who now have the opportunity to make an impact in a positive way, and they don't, because now instead of, I understand when you got these beefs in the street, it's hard to make amends. But are you making an attempt? Maybe they are. I don't know their lives. But if you're not, then you're bringing along these other, gang members or whomever, and where you could be trying to effectuate some positive change in their life. You're just perpetuating the cycle, because now you're probably funding the foolery. Not only that, you have other young kids in areas who are looking up to you. Now, I don't know this guy's music at all. What I do know is that, like, he's had pink hair and fingernail polish and dresses. So I don't even know what kind of gangster does all that stuff. So, like, literally, if somebody put a gun to my head and said, give me the name of one song, I'm not gonna, I probably would make it up and say, because I know he say, like, Slime Life.
Yeah.
Do he got a song called Slime Life?
No, but he got a song called Ski.
No, I don't know that.
Yes,
I probably would.
We Ski.
Like that
what?
song?
Yeah, what?
I wouldn't have known that was him. I probably would have said Slime Life, just like praying, like, God, please let that be the song and I don't get killed. I didn't know that was him. Yeah, that song don't even say nothing.
Yeah, it do.
It just say ski.
No, it
ski.
doesn't. It says
see,
a whole lot of shit.
I don't know. But I'm just saying, I don't know anything about either of those guys. It's just really, really sad that with the opportunity that's been presented to themselves, because they're innocent until proven guilty, if they are still participating in illegal activities, it's a shame that they didn't use that opportunity to do something for the betterment of the hood. Like, you can still be in the hood, but help better the hood.
But they did, and you got hundreds of people working for you, and now you're gone. So now all them lives, they changed because yours did. Like,
and
it's
your
just
kids.
Crazy. Yeah, your kids, everybody that you take care of, your family, like, all that stuff just stops because the head was chopped off the snake. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Let's do a wrap. Act 2 the podcast, episode 70. We done. You can catch the International Walk and the Co-Hostess on act2thepodcast.com. You can catch us on Facebook. You can catch us on YouTube. You can catch us on Instagram. You can catch us on Google Podcaster. You can catch us on Anchorage. You can catch us on Radio Publix. You can catch us on TikTokit. You can catch us on Breakers. And you can catch us on Spotify. I'll put my little twist on that. You can catch us on all of them.
Yeah, that was weird, but okay. Radio Publix, that's like the supermarket.
Yeah, Act 2 the podcast, episode 70. It's a wrap. If you fuck with us, you fuck with us. If you don't, you should. Peace.